Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to episode 37 of the RAGAMUFFIN Music Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
And this is a place for us to talk about the music we love.
Didn't you just say something else?
Yeah, I did it in the wrong order then. I said the episode number first at the
Absolutely
start.
threw me up.
Yeah, sorry.
On this episode, we'll be reviewing the new albums from Neck Deep and Casey, as well as singles from Bring Me the Horizon, Enter Shikari, and more.
And we'll be making some predictions of what might be coming up and what might happen later this year.
We did not recommend an album in December, did we?
No.
No, I didn't.
For the very reason of this. We're going to look back at all the recommendations we did last year, talk about some of our favourites, and try and pick our ultimate favourite. Who wants to start by throwing out a little suggestion of an album they liked?
I think this would be starting off strong with my number one, my favourite one. Obviously not recommended by me.
Straight into the favourite, okay.
I really enjoyed Discovering End last year.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say this.
And when you recommended From the Unforgiving Arms of God, like right before a new album came out, peak timing for me. I've replayed it so much, thoroughly enjoyed it, wonderfully heavy, sludgy, and just thoroughly enjoyable. So that one definitely stood out to me as like a really strong one that I've since then obviously revisited, which is kind of a key part that we're trying to do for each other here, is recommend albums that each other might like, revisit, and kind of expand our horizons.
Sorry, it's cracking me up how cute James is with his little cast, just balancing the microphone inside it. Like he's not properly holding it, it's just sort of perched. It's like the cast is perfectly set in the shape of a microphone. I love it. I like using the recommendations section, not just to recommend music for you guys, but to recommend sort of something that I haven't got around to listening to. And one of my favourite discoveries of last year was Bob Vylan. So listening to Bob Vylan Presents The Price of Life after, I can't remember if it was after or before seeing them at 2000 Trees, just fully, the combination of that and seeing them live just fully got me into that band, and I love them now.
That was going to be one that I was going to bring up because it was exactly the same. I got hooked on that album. I listened to it non-stop. It was before Trees because I got so obsessed with it in the run-up to that festival. Yeah, that was such a great recommendation. Love it, and I really can't wait to see what they do next. I'm really enjoying a lot of the new singles they're releasing at the moment. So
yeah, album out in April, I believe.
Yes, it's going to be very good. One thing that I really liked was... It was an album that I became absolutely obsessed with over the course of the year, and that was Def Havana's The Present is a Foreign Land, which I believe you recommended, Dan?
No, I think you did a me and recommended it.
Oh, I recommended it for myself,
yourself.
basically. I just got so addicted to this album, and to this day, love it, absolutely love it. Got it on vinyl. Just bloody brilliant. Well done me for recommending it.
One that you recommended, Dan, that I really enjoyed was Valbard with The Weight of the Mask. And it was one that, yeah, I think it hadn't long come out, but it kind of just missed us amongst, I think, a busy month. And I'd always kind of heard the name about and just, I think, assumed of like Viking metal in a way. Don't know, I just preconceptions with the name perhaps.
I could see why.
But yeah, like just kind of actually delving into that and really enjoying it. Revisiting it a couple of times since as well, kind of trying to. You always hear sometimes like circles of bands around, like bands you listen to, and you kind of just see repetitiveness, like in festival lineups sometimes. And I've always seen their name come up on posters, like in the most recent years, and so like to actually kind of delve into it, kind of break those misconceptions you have, and to find some music that's just really enjoyable, fun to listen to, and kind of you can really delve it into. I found that really fun. And on the back of that as well, there was another one that you recommended, which I think took you both by surprise at how much I enjoyed it. And that was Origami Angel.
I thought you were going to say Olivia Rodrigo.
So did I.
No, unfortunately not. But the Origami Angel one, I just found it very interesting. It wasn't really what I expected. I didn't know what I expected really, but I kind of found myself really thinking about the music properly that I'm listening to, and like intricate, very thoughtful parts that were written.
I feel like, as you're sort of from a drumming background, I feel like if we ever give you something that has slightly odd time signatures,
Scratches that part of my brain.
yeah, you just focus on it that little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that it just really helped me attach to it a bit more, I think, and enjoy it and kind of analytically start to try and break it down and understand what's happening in how a song's crafted and how they've kind of gone through that creative process and making it. And so I found, it itched that part of my brain for me and absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that.
I wanted to give a shout out to a guest appearance we had. We had Josh on for an episode, as I believe James couldn't make it for that one.
It's in Japan.
It was in Japan.
Yeah, that was
Having
it.
a wonderful time in Japan.
And he made a great recommendation. He loves a bit of swancore, so he recommended New Age Filth by Hail the Sun to kind of give us a bit of a gateway into that genre. And I think it was a really nice sort of new perspective and a new thing to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant album. I want to talk about a month where you boys both absolutely popped off. And that is when James recommended Lost in the Waves by Landmarks and Dan recommended Prince Daddy and the Hyenas self-titled.
I think you're not giving yourself enough justice there as well. Trophy Eyes Chemical Miracle.
Flawless album.
Great chance to read
That might be the single
Potentially our
best,
strongest month.
single best month of recommendations.
I think so.
Oh, well done us. Well, that's a good way to end this segment, isn't it?
Basically, what you've learned from listening to this is that we have great taste in music.
We're bloody brilliant.
We recommend some fantastic albums, and you should listen to them as well.
Yeah.
But we interrupted Alex though. He was about to tell us why he thought we gave good recommendations.
Yeah, Alex. Validate us, please.
I've got nothing profound to say. They're both just fucking sick. Different genres, but they both are some of the best albums currently within those genres. They're fucking sick. Love them.
Wonderful. Look at us.
Look at us.
That was a nice moment of reflection.
We did a good job.
But now we've got to charge onwards to the future.
New music.
Future.
Ooh.
Let's start by talking about a new song from Bring Me the Horizon. Kool-Aid. First of all, they've got rid of the stupid spelling. Like the
I
stupid...
thought you were going to say they've got rid of the
They got
stupid
rid of
electronic
the stupid
guy.
synth guy who was clearly making them type all their songs out silly. No. Kool-Aid. The first song in the Jordan Fishless era. What do you call it, Bring Me the Horizon with no fish?
No fishes?
No, I don't know. I fucked it up. I was going to do something about a fish with no eyes as a fish, but I fucked it. Arguably...
We wish him all the best.
All the best. Congratulations. You're going to do great. You're going to do big things, kid.
You're doing great, sweetie. Dream big.
If you shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among the stars, Jordan Fish.
You'll land beyond the horizon.
Yep, brilliant. Oh yeah, he's gone beyond the horizon now.
It's like he's ascended.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Anyway. It's like he's a spirit now.
Oh,
in a box.
In a box. Brilliant. Let's talk about Kool-Aid.
Yeah, all right.
I'd say this is top 5 Bring Me the Horizon song.
One of my main statements was to say this is the best song of Next Gen so far.
Agreed.
Dan's hesitating.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. Yeah.
I just think it's the strongest with it because it kind of feels slightly like a continuation of survival horror, of some of the tone of that release.
It's
like
a bit.
carries
It's
on
a
those
bit
like
like
Dear Diary vibes.
Yeah, it's a bit like Dear Diary 2. Almost, but with a few more elements thrown in.
Yeah, like it's been expanded. It's a part 2, like you say, with it, and just really interesting sections that I didn't expect. Like as soon as kind of coming to the second verse with those screams, like straight out the gate with it almost. Really didn't expect it. The kind of false ending the song has as well, in a way, with that little bit like almost like you're in the studio with Ollie when he's recording, which is like a weird situation. It puts you in a different space, which I think that's very interesting. I think it's got a great catchy chorus.
Massive.
I found myself just like singing the lyrics and like having melodies in my head constantly, like since it's come out. And I think one of the, like I say, better songs that we've heard from Bring Me in quite a while.
I think Next Gen is shaping up to surpass survival horror, and that is a very tall order because I think survival horror is flawless. I don't think there's a bad song on that whole thing. And
There are lesser songs, I think.
Yeah, I think it's got peaks and troughs, but the troughs
Do
are
you
still.
reckon?
Yeah, the troughs are still
Go on.
strong.
Tell me the troughs.
Don't really like One by One.
Crazy. Continue. Itch for the Cure I could do without, but it's just
Interlude.
just interlude. Actually, I love an interlude, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know-
Obey's the weaker song on that.
I don't love Kingslayer as much as a lot of people do.
No, I like it.
Wow,
Um,
that is wild.
the one with the long name with Amy Lee. I'm not really a fan of that.
I can't believe
Great
what I'm
closer.
hearing tonight. It's a great closer.
No, not a fan of that one. No.
You two can't even agree on the troughs, and I don't think there's any troughs. So
It's got some wonderful peaks.
let us know in the comments the worst song on survival horror for a laugh. Go on.
Anyway, it's kind of bring
anyway.
it back round to Next Gen though. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been reflecting a little bit recently, like seeing clips of them on the tour, and we didn't go.
Should have gone.
And I really strongly think that this is because we hadn't had Next Gen yet. I think if we'd have had it last year at the release dates it was supposed to be, I think it could have been in contention as an album of the year last year. Based on some of the singles we've had.
Contention.
It would
yeah,
at least
it'd be in the
contention.
discussion.
Wouldn't say it would be mine because some fantastic
Yeah.
albums last year that I don't know if it would surpass how I kind of feel towards those albums. But I think we would definitely be jumping on the tour more.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
I think after Survival Horror, when quite a few of us went to Birmingham to go and watch them, it kind of came off the back of that and the success and how much we enjoyed it. And so I think if we'd have had that with Next Gen, we would have been there already and we'll be talking about the most recent Bring Me show we've been to.
I think the fact that it was in January didn't help as well.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
go.
like it's,
Who wants to
it's,
do
it's
that?
a sleepy month, isn't it? You just want to chill out. You don't want to.
Cold, got no money.
Yeah.
Who can be asked?
But we've had some banging tunes this month.
But we've had some banging tunes this month. Let's march onwards. The next big tune, James. Tell us.
Fit for a King, Keeping Secrets.
Boom! Big
Massive.
tune.
Now, I'm not really that fussed on this band and this sort of style of metalcore. I think it's cool, but it doesn't often hold my attention. Like a full Fit for a King album, honestly, doesn't hold my attention. I 5 songs in and I'm like, yeah, fine, cool. This was brilliant. Like, about as good as you can get for modern metalcore, I reckon.
I think after like
Yeah.
a couple of listens, it took me to really, I think, get into it a little bit more. As probably the one who knows them the most out of the three of us. But I think after that, like again, a bit like Bring Me, melodies in the chorus, and this will come back in other songs that we're going to speak about in a bit as well. The melody and the lyrics in the chorus kind of struck with me, and again, they're going around in my head. And as I'm listening through the playlist that we make for this, I kind of walk around town or something on a day off, and I'm listening to it, and I'm just singing through all these songs, and I think it's just like quite a nice, pleasant
Out loud.
thing. Out loud, probably, yeah. And it was just like a nice, pleasant thing to have like so many big kind of songs in the metalcore genre, which is my favorite genre, to be able to really, really enjoy, delve into back to back, and thoroughly enjoy it. I think this was a great showing for like Ryan Kirby's vocals and showing some of his diverse range, because I think sometimes he's quite underrated in the genre. And they're just such a tight instrumental band. And after seeing them last year at Slam Dunk, I thoroughly enjoyed the set. And they just become much more on my radar. And so I'm very intrigued by this. I did see that he put a tweet out that said no album is coming out in 24, just singles. And they're going to experiment a little bit more on the sound that they want to make and go forward with.
That's a sensible thing to do.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
So it means we could have a bit of variety from Fit for a King this year, maybe hear different things on how they might push the genre forwards a little bit differently, stand out a bit more. Breakdowns are nice, screams are sick. I loved it.
Bon appetit.
Exactly.
I think I'm with Alex on the point of this kind of metalcore can feel a little bit tired and a little bit done these days. But there's certainly moments in this song where it's really sort of taking a step out and kind of doing something a little bit differently, or at least doing something so well that it stands out amongst the crowd. Like when that chorus hits, it hits. Like you're fully sucked in. You feel like a James walking through the street. You just get a bit more of a strut going when that chorus hits, probably. And there's like an interesting sort of synthy almost like bubbly thing leading up to the first chorus as well, which I think is really cool. So it's a standard metalcore song, but again, it's not doing anything wrong, and it has moments where it really excels, I think.
Executed very well.
Next up, we've got Creature by Landmarks.
Can I go first?
You can go first.
Now, I know this is going to sound... Well, as it stands right now, this is the song of the year.
Agreed.
I fucking love it. I legitimately, I will listen to this. Takes me about 20 minutes on the bus to get to work. I'll listen to it on repeat the entire bus journey.
I've done the same.
Without going to any other song or listening to anything else. I'm obsessed. Every part of this song is just like the rapping and like hip hop intro, so sick. The riffs in the verse and the aggression in the verse, love it. The breakdown's cool, but also the little pre-drum break before the breakdown, I think is very, like, that's definitely a hip-hop influence, like, coming through, having, like, a beat break. And then the chorus is so unbelievably massive that I'll be honest, I wasn't even considering going to their tour in May. Now I am.
I have a ticket already.
Yeah, this is flawless to me. I'm obsessed.
Something I love, you mentioned the chorus there. When that first chorus hits, it almost took me by surprise. I didn't expect it to be, because it's kind of at sort of a level through that first verse, and then it's almost like it goes up to like a note that you just don't expect it to go to. Like you feel the chorus coming in, but then it's just almost like in a different key or just a slightly higher note than you kind of anticipate it to be. And I think that's kind of a theme throughout the whole song, is it just keeps you on your toes. It doesn't really like go where you predict that it's going to go, and it's like just a mashup of loads of different things that make this kind of genre great and make this band so great.
Bloody love it, man. It's so fucking good. Like, as soon as like it came to December last year and they were teasing this, I was like, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what it's going to be, and I hope it's great. This just delivered beyond my expectations. For the song, first of all, I think it just wonderfully shows off the diversity of the band and how much they're capable of as musicians. And then I think with Flo's vocals in particular as well, you're getting so many different styles there. With the screams in particular, you hear the high screams, but also like in the breakdown, his gutturals, I think are so fantastic. And I think he really is. There's a weird one because I think a band will come out and they'll release a song, whether it could be Architects, it could be Tala, and we always kind of go into it as like one of the best vocalists in the game. And I think Flo needs to have his name out there in particular for that. I think what he can do is incredible, and he replicates it phenomenally live.
Incredibly like unique and identifiable voice as well.
Yeah, straight away. And that can be something quite hard in metalcore sometimes, in particular in what is a very crowded genre. My prediction straight away, they will probably be my artist of the year. There will be an album coming out. This will probably be my album of the year after the back of this. And I fully expect this song to be, if not like single of the year, just kind of going to the Spotify Wrapped, it's going to be in my top, not just top 5, it's going to be in my top 3. Like, it's one of those songs that I can tell now that, like, once you hear it, like, I'm going to be listening to this throughout the rest of the year. And especially once you kind of have an album that's coming out, because it is coming out, it's going to get played when I'm listening to the album in full. If they haven't seen it, the music video as well, I think is fantastic, because that can be a lost art sometimes.
I'll have to give that a look.
Yeah, very
recommend.
Another point I have actually is I don't think we talk about album artwork enough or single artwork, but I really love the artwork on this,
Yeah.
like the comic book, graphic novel kind of style.
And that carries into the
And
music
presumably
video.
that theme's in the music video
It does.
and is going to carry on like through this whole album campaign as well.
Exactly,
I think it
because
looks really cool.
the note I'll make is the music video ends on almost like a cliffhanger. So it's like this is then going to be carried across throughout the album. Not necessarily it's going to be a concept album, but at least in the music videos, there's a continuation, there's a journey of something that it's teasing something. And then it's going to keep going, continuing. I wonder if maybe another single just before the May tour, potentially.
Yeah.
And then the album comes out summertime, is kind
When's
of a
the
bit of a
festival?
guess.
When's their festival?
November, they did it last year.
Oh.
In Marseille.
So there's not an announcement for the album release yet?
Has not come out yet, no.
I'm gonna
do a bit of digging for
if
me.
you're making a prediction, I'll make a prediction as well. I think there'll be 2 more singles before. Say there's the May tour.
Yeah.
2 more singles before the May tour, and then they'll announce the album.
Okay.
Like probably just before the tour.
Oh, if we're gonna make predictions, I'll say this. I reckon it'll be an EP. Ooh. Why not? A lot of bands are doing it now.
I think it'll be an album.
Oh yeah, I'm probably wrong. But figured I'd do something different from you guys.
But yeah, this is first of all just song of the reviews for me.
Everyone's
I
got to
love
measure
it.
up to this now.
It's
So-
fucking incredible.
I fucking wouldn't want to tell you that much.
Big up Landmarks.
Next up, we got an absolutely colossal collab. Enter Shikari and Fever 333, Losing My Grip. We'll go to Dan first, a resident Shikari head.
Resident Shikari head here.
Mm.
Now the things I really like about this song are it's pretty heavy.
Yes.
It's got some chunky guitar going on through there. The synth is kind of carrying it through as well. That's about it, really. The things I don't like about this song, very repetitive lyrics. Another thing I like about this song, love a screamy row. Love it when he sort of goes a bit more like ape shit on a song, which I think with Shikari doing singles, they seem to go through this pattern of album and then a few singles and then an album. When they're in their singles phase, that seems to be when they kind of let loose a little bit and go a little bit crazy, doing songs like Slipshod, for example, Hoodwinker. That's where they seem to, for some reason, go a bit heavier. So I guess that's why this one's got a little bit of a chunky guitar kind of theme to it. And some screamy row. Where I'm disappointed is the lyrical content seems a little bit sort of leaving me wanting more, I suppose.
Especially considering
especially
the
when they're
vocalists.
2 very political, historically very angry artists as well. I was and there are some political points made in there, but I was maybe hoping for them to go in a little bit more and kind of make some big statements about something, which didn't happen. Enjoy it overall, but it kind of left me wanting more a little.
Last single we're going to go for is Alpha Wolf featuring Ice-T with Sucks to Suck.
What a crazy feature. Really wild.
Never
but-
thought, if you'd have told me Ice-T and Alpha Wolf are going to collab on a song, I'd have said, nah, that's not happening.
It's one of those ones that you would never predict, but then as in hindsight kind of actually makes a lot of sense. Because Ice-T's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what's what. Here's a Pon and Burning Body collab on, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Turn
true.
Down for What? That was pretty fun. Ice-T knows what's up. So I really rate this collab. I think this is a fun song. Alpha Wolf, maybe they're up there with Landmarks as far as innovative, fun, new metalcore.
I was going to say
And
this.
I say new metalcore with an NU there.
Because this has got a lot of new metal vibes to it.
I think their style of it's gonna sound like I'm throwing shade and I'm not, but this and Landmarks compared to like Fit for a King is the vibe of metalcore that I prefer.
It's being able to branch out from what could be stale,
Yeah, sure.
and it's how you can kind of be within that metalcore sound and the tropes you get from it, but to be diverse enough to stand out amongst a large crowd of bands.
Well, I think it's something we've said before. You've either got to be the best at what you do, or you've got to be innovating. And there are a lot of metalcore bands that are just coasting along and doing whatever. It's bands like this and Landmarks that make it worthwhile, to be honest, for me. Like, this song's really fun. It's really heavy. The Ice-T feature's super fun. The video is really cool as well.
Again, another good video.
Another good video. People are making an effort with their videos again.
We
So-
like this.
That's because people saw that our Video of the Year nominations were absolutely shit.
Basically just not loose.
Basically just not
Yep.
loose. The only ones that bothered last year.
I like
So
RAGAMUFFINs, we've got to prove something.
yeah. No, I really like it.
No,
I like
absolutely
this band a
fantastic
lot.
song.
Excited
I
for the
agree.
album as well.
I remember like seeing, I think it was on Twitter, people putting clips of the music video up. I immediately went to Spotify first of all just to try and listen to it, and it wasn't uploaded in our time yet, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to YouTube then. And I was sitting on a train and I just watched it, and yeah, absolutely loved it. I think it's just...
See, I think if more bands are going to make effort with music videos, I think we should normalise that being the first time that you listen to a song.
Yeah.
Because then you've got like the audio, the visual. You've got every kind of artistic representation that they wanted to make on that song.
Mm-hmm. As a song though, Lockie's vocals fantastic.
Well, yeah, he's one of the best, isn't he?
Again, it's kind of repetitive from other stuff we've said, but really, really stands out, I think, in the scene for it. They're just such an exciting band, and they're one of the key ones, like Download in particular this year, that I'm so excited to see live, because throughout their discography you can hear evolution, you can hear them changing. They've got such fantastic songwriting throughout all of that. Carrying on with this, it's great.
With that point, even since, because we kind of discovered them when they did the Holding Absence split, I think even since that, they've kind of grown and still like pushed the boundaries and changed as a band, even in that short time.
And I forget, while we're talking about artwork earlier on, I forget what the album's called because they've announced the album that's coming out this year, but the artwork for that looks really sick as well.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. And
so again, I think
that's complimentary.
We're in January, and there's bands here straight away where it's like we could be talking Song of the Years, Album of the Years, Artist of the Years, and we're only just fucking starting.
Yeah, we are off to a good start. And we haven't even started talking about albums yet.
Exactly.
Today.
We're not even talking about predictions for late this year, which we're going to do later on. But like you're hearing now that I think we're starting off so strong. I think I'm trying to think back to previous years, because I think it was like 2021 started off strong as shit. And I think last year it felt a bit of a slow starter. It didn't get until
last year we had the Sleep Token singles.
Yeah,
I think we had most of them out by this point.
But
I think
that was it. There wasn't other bands that I can recall where I was like excited by multiple different things happening.
Yeah.
Whereas you look within this, there's like 4 bands where I'm just like, yeah, excited by that, excited by that, excited by that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to have those multiple things to look forward to. I don't think we've had that in some time, and just to start off the year so strong with this, I love it. And we're going to talk about the albums now as well that we've had. January 24 is going to go down as probably one of the better months of music that we could potentially have.
I think we've pretty much covered everything we need to on this Alpha Wolf song, but I've got one last addition to make. The bit that I like the most on this song, or the bit that sort of maybe kind of rewind and sort of want to listen again, was there's 2 moments in this song where the instrumentation, the instruments kind of stop just for a second, and then there's almost like, I think it's some kind of slide that sounds like it's like almost revving up or powering up to bring the riff back in. Mm-hmm. It's like a little like ray gun or something, or like booting up the Death Star. It's like just a sound that just brings everything back in again. It does it once kind of nearer the start of the song, and then again shortly after the Ice-T feature as well. And I just love that. That's the kind of innovation that we're talking about, that the bands like this are bringing, and it's awesome.
It just sounds like it's extremely well produced. Everything's so well thought out. I find they have a very distinct guitar tone as well. That's not one like you can get some bands where it just sounds repetitive when you hear multiple songs like that. But I think it just sounds so different and good, and it's so distinctly them.
Yeah.
That it's always enjoyable to listen to, and kind of like takes the riffs in a different way.
Before we get into albums, have either of you checked out the new Bad Omens song?
I've not, no.
Have you seen the deal with it?
It's Bad Omens, but it doesn't feature Noah, and so people are kicking up a fuss about that.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting, and there's probably a discussion we can have at some point, or in the Ragamuffin Club, about people's relationships, like the fan relationship with the band. Because I think it's just a huge sense of entitlement that people have decided they hate this song because Noah isn't singing on it. Whereas my opinion is that it seems like it's introducing what's potentially going to be a really interesting concept album, because lyrically it's like Pop is singing about taking control and like making them disappear. So it's almost like she's made the band disappear and that she's kind of taken over. So there's theories now that maybe it's going to be quite a conceptual album or EP coming up in the near future. I think it's meant to be
almost like a addition as well to Death of a Peace of Mind.
Could well be.
I've seen online it's somewhere between like a remix and addition. It's like a
new songs, like
a mirrored version of the album. It's sort I don't know.
See, I'm open to that. I think that's got potential to be really cool. I don't know why people are hating on it.
I'm open to the idea. I don't particularly care for Bad Omens, so
No, I don't
I
either. If I'm
wouldn't-
honest,
yeah.
but I just think it's very unfair that people are
No, I agree. Oh,
sort of
yeah.
slating the
To be
band
fair-
for it and like giving Poppy abuse for it as well. Like she's
That's
just
half the
singing on the
reason-
song. That's
Yeah.
all she's done.
That's half the reason why I haven't listened to them. Because the fan base is so bloody mental. I can't even be asked.
But I touched on it as well in the latest news video, just talking about the fan bases, because you look at the shit that's happened with Sleep Token and how people take it too far. They've done, like I say, we've done it with Bad Omens as well, where all of them have left social media essentially, apart from having just a band page, which is probably just run by management at this point. Because
But
fans
that
take it too
also
far.
might have been to build up hype for this new single as well, though. To be fair,
There was an interview
That
that
makes
was
sense. It
no, but there
goes
was an
on
interview
to-
that was in terms of them clearing their page, yes. But in terms of like the interviews that I've seen,
Oh,
with, like,
yeah,
Noah, where
people
he's
have
like
been
they're
fucking
sharing
mental.
baby pictures of him, and people just take it too far, and he was like, "I'm
I'd
stepping
fucking,
away."
you'd just quit, wouldn't you?
And so yeah, all of them have
I'd go
removed it.
I'd just be like, do you know what? You can't behave, so you get nothing.
So
yeah, maybe that's a discussion we'll have either
Yeah.
on a future podcast or in the Ragamuffin Club Facebook group.
Ooh, a reason to join. Nice one, Dan.
Thanks. Just thought I'd sing that in there.
Let's talk about one of two albums this month. The first one is Casey, How to Disappear.
or in one of our reviews recently, I said about one of the Casey songs in particular being like a warm blanket, and I feel like this whole album is like that. I sent Dan a message even recently where I was just like, I can't stop listening to this. I've had it on repeat. I think it's beautiful throughout, and I think beautiful is one of the best words to describe the album. Lyrically, it makes you think. It's very poignant at times, and musically it just seems to support that, and it just seems they have spent so much attention in the songwriting, how it's crafted. Every little detail is very thought out. I think, like we mentioned with Bite Through My Tongue, they're very select in the scream sections, and it feels sometimes like a holding back, but then just something's burst out, there's a release of it. And I think you kind of see that in sparks throughout this album, amongst some fantastic hooks, fantastic melodies. I can just think, you look at song names and like something like Sanctimonious, I hear the word being sung, like straight away I think of it and I can hear it. And to kind of just look at an album, look at a set of songs and hear them in my head straight away, not playing them, is something you don't always get straight, like from a new album immediately. It's a very special album, and again, I think this is going to be talked about an album of the year potential already, because I think it's so strong. If you're going to come back and you're going to do a comeback album, this is the perfect way of doing it. They fucking nailed it, essentially. From someone who I came along to a Casey gig last year because you two listened to them, and there was a ticket, and I was like, yeah, cool, I'll come down. And since then, you look at 12 months later, and I'm sold. I love it.
I think obviously it makes for a very interesting comeback album as well, considering I guess like the headspace that the band must have been in writing it, because obviously the first album's very much about heartbreak, the second album's very much about a personal battle with depression and other mental health and other health issues, which always makes it interesting with there being a few years since those last two albums coming into this one, as to what kind of themes they could possibly address on this. And I think Unique Lights is a brilliant opener, particularly lyrically, in the sense of, I'm going to get the lyric wrong now, but something along the lines of, I need you to know that I'm happier now than I've ever been, which is almost like putting to bed the themes of the previous two albums straight away and being like, this is new, this is going to be something different. And I think throughout the album it kind of addresses themes of essentially moving on and like getting over and sort of appreciating that's the thing that happened. We're going forward now, and it's almost a statement for the band as well as just the personal themes on it, because it really feels like, I think this is their best album for starters. It really feels like they're back and that they have intention, that they have big plans. I think the point James made as well of where they're utilising, because this is compared to the last two albums, there's not so much screaming and there's not so much heavy stuff on this album, but they use it in the moments where it's needed and where it's necessary. Each song kind of sort of flows sort of between sort of ups and downs and heavy parts and softer parts, and just beautifully layered guitar parts as well. I think everything just pulls together brilliantly throughout the whole album. And although each song could potentially be a single, because I don't think there's a weak song on here, also it's an album, if that makes sense. It's not written like, here's some good songs, here's like however many songs. It's these songs are put together to form almost a narrative and like a sort of journey.
It flows incredibly well.
Yep.
Favorite songs?
Oh God, I Was Happy When You Died is an absolute banger.
Yep.
And again, it's kind of, it's about loss, but like the positive side of loss, that it's kind of brought people together. Which I think, again, throughout this whole album, there's themes where it's like, here's a negative and I've turned it into a positive. I think Space Between is a banger as well. Those That I'm Survived By, again, a great song about just sort of loving your friends and appreciating them, which when you look at the Casey of years ago, you can't imagine them really writing a song like that. It was always just misery as well, which is another lyrical sort of callback on this album as well, where it's, again, I'm going to get the lyric wrong, but when it's my turn to leave, will I be remembered for misery, or something along those lines. It's like they're wanting to not just be a miserable person and like sort of see the good in things. I'm completely waffling, but in short, I love this album, and I think it's going to be really hard to beat it as my album of the year.
I think like
This early on.
Yeah, Bite Through My Tongue, I think, still stands out incredibly well. And I love the title tracks that end it.
Yeah,
I think
it's a really nice ending.
A beautiful ender, the way that there's like a calmness at the beginning, and then it just has that build as like a really strong finish. Yeah, lovely album.
And it's almost a callback as well, because it's that lyrics on an earlier song as well. I can't remember which one.
I can't remember. It like ties it all together.
I feel like it might be, was it on 4KT?
Might be.
But yeah, it's mentioned on a song about halfway through the album, and then kind of adjusted slightly for the end. And I always like it when albums do that. It's almost like a bit of a callback.
Banger.
I love it a lot.
And then the second album we have this month is the self-titled album by Neck Deep.
I haven't got many thoughts about this album, to be honest. All Distortions was a letdown. They put the pressure on by making this self-titled, and I think it lives up to that pressure. It's a fun, solid album. Doesn't blow my mind at any point the way that Life's Out to Get You or Peace and Panic did. But it's fun. It's got a couple of songs on there that will be added to the live set. And for a band that are on their, fifth album?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 6 if you count Rain in July and History as one. The two
EPs.
Yeah, with a band this far into their career, all you can ask for is a few new bangers live, I think. So overall, happy.
I feel like it's a nice return.
I agree.
I think it's like All Distortions, for us at least, was like a blip, I find. And I feel like this is quite a nice continuation from like what could have been after Peace and the Panic. It's a very Neck Deep album. It's quintessential Neck Deep, and I think that's quite... I've seen it on, people say it on Twitter, it's like not a dig in a way, but like it's very them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they've gone and tried something, fair enough, but then they've gone, you know what, this is what we do best. Let's just stick to that.
Because they did have an album written, recorded and everything with a producer in America, I'd heard, and they didn't like it and they scrapped the whole album. And so this is then the rewrites afterwards when they came back home over here and wrote the album. I think like the singles like stand out, and being scattered throughout the album works very nicely. It kind of has those moments when you can kind of pop into regularity of what you've heard, like on the first couple of listens. And I feel like there's a lot more energy behind this. It's like much more upbeat. Stuff like, I know you're going to talk about Sort Yourself Out, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Like instantly. I hear it.
That's the one that I picked out after the first listen and was
It gives me
I
like
love this song.
over and over vibes again, like the energy, the up-tempo-ness. It feels much more like a throwback and almost like honouring the roots of where they started in a better way.
The roots that you can't kick up.
You can't kick them up. Yeah, really, really enjoy it. Again, like, it could crop up in album of the year potential because I think it's really, really strong and like a nice 10-song album. It was like half an hour or so. It didn't go more than it needed to. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and it was a nice return to form after being worried about this album. Yeah, really, really come out of it much more positive and happy with what Neck Deep have put out here.
I feel like sonically it kind of fits somewhere in the gap between Life's Not Out to Get You and The Peace and the Panic. I think it's got some of the maybe slightly more poppier sort of production side of things that The Peace and the Panic has, but it's got the rawer kind of pop punk sound that you've got from Life's Not Out to Get You. As we mentioned, my favourite song from it is Sort Yourself Out because it just bangs. As soon as that drum beat came in, that just fast sort of, right, we're fucking here now, let's go. I was like, okay, I'm listening. And then I was along for the ride for the whole thing. I think, like Alex said, there's kind of times where some of the songs are a little bit samey, but I think that's to be expected from a pop punk album. Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned before how I'm not that keen on kind of Ben's more recent vocals, where I'd much prefer Last Night Out to Get You and kind of Rain in July era, where it had that bit more grit to his voice. But stuff like The Bridge on Go Outside, where he's just right up there in like really, really high, singing really highly, I get it. I really like it.
I did find some of the lyrics cringy in They May Not Mean To, But They Do. That was a little bit like... Yeah, that... Kind of listened to it and I was like...
That's probably...
One of the weaker songs.
Yeah, that's the one I look at and be like, that's an album track.
Yeah. So like I found that a little bit.
But most of the others, if we're talking about putting songs in a live set, I'd be happy with most of the others.
Very happy with. And I'm now much more positive. I was like looking forward to it anyway as a gig at Ali Pali in March, but I'm now much more positive and much more looking forward to it now off the back of this. Instead of being like, yeah, cool, I'm going to see Neck Deep again. They were great at Download last year. Woo. But now I'm really, really excited. And with like, woo. Exactly. With like Knuckle Puck and Drain on there as well. I think that's going to be a fun night.
I would love it if they are a Trees headliner.
I want that to happen so
people
bad.
Are rumouring and suspecting as well.
Someone asked him, I think at a signing recently, about festivals this year. And he said they're going to be at festivals this year in the UK.
At a festival or at festivals?
I think he was very open about festivals. Like, as just
okay.
I can't remember how the wording was, if it was plural. They asked him about Trees. I think it's from like a Trees forum I saw it. And he replied being like, we'd love to play Trees one day. And seemingly people have been
they've played it before.
Or like, I think like headliner status, they were talking about that kind of thing. And so people were presuming like maybe it's not this year.
Yeah.
But then
he could be bluffing.
Who knows? He's
a cheeky man.
But they would by far be the main draw of Trees for me this year if they go. Because at the minute it's all right. It's a few bands for me in particular, but it's not the best it's been for me. So this would really like push it over the edge for my musical tastes.
In short, Neck Deep's, I guess, comeback album in a way.
2 comeback albums, really, in a way, then.
Yeah. Brilliant.
We're all coming back. We're back in 24.
That's brilliant. Over to James with next month's, or I guess this coming month's, new releases. What have we got to look forward to, James?
I'd say we're looking forward to one album in particular.
Sorry, it's like you're reporting the weather. So what's it like out there, James? And then there was a delay.
I'm not going to lie, this is a fairly weak month right now. I think there's one album that we're all going to collectively agree on.
4 weeks in a month, by the way, James.
What did I say? What did I say? I'm not getting.
Oh, you said it's a weak month.
For fuck's sake.
Yes.
Although it is February, so it's slightly shorter.
Still 4 though. Actually, no, it's a longer February because it's a leap year.
Yippee!
Anyway, oh fuck. On February 2nd, Being as an Ocean released Death Can Wait.
I can't. Well excited for this.
I don't think there's enough people talking about this album.
But we will be, probably.
I expect so. The singles so far have been excellent, and I think it's going to be a banger.
On February 16th, Idols release, I'm guessing it's Tank.
Yeah.
But it's spelt weirdly, it's like TANGK.
That's what I think of it.
What was it, Alex? What do you think of it?
I think it's going to be all right. It's not going to be prime Idols, but it'll be all right.
And just to round third, to have another band in here, because of this is how weak it is, this will show you. On February 23rd, Job for a Cowboy are releasing Moon Healer.
Fucking Christ.
That tells you, me finding that in there,
Sorry, there's got to be more than that.
we're scraping the barrels.
Scraping the barrels.
There is
Break
not a
the
lot
barrel
happening.
open, see what's inside.
March is nice.
What's in March?
March, we're getting sleeps.
Oh yeah, fuck you know.
March, we've got 741. Can I guess then we're all just looking forward to Being as an Ocean?
Yeah. Oh, Being as Ocean and Death Can't Wait, but I...
Also can't wait.
Death Can Wait. No, Death Can't Wait. Death Can Wait?
Death Can Wait.
Death Can Wait.
Death Can Wait. I
I
can't.
can't wait.
Going to
That's
be
it.
a good album. Like Dan said, not enough people talking about it, so consider this us proclaiming it from the rooftops, as I don't have a roof to go to.
Pale Dusk are releasing an EP called Pale Hell.
Ooh, baby!
Ooh.
That'll be good.
February the 21st.
I'll be seated. It's got to be something else.
MGMT.
Did you know MGMT?
No.
You'll know kids. You'll know kids if you heard kids. It was on FIFA, but you also know it from
Who are you talking to?
yeah, but you were
Alex, when's
Rod
the last
Stewart is releasing Swing Fever with Jules Holland.
I'm down for that Rod Stewart one. Okay, I've heard this before. You can stop now.
Dan, do you want to take a guess at what year FIFA that was on?
That's on 2008.
Let's see if he's right, shall we?
We're
Sorry,
the one's
James.
going to have to edit this.
Sorry, James. We'll be with you in a moment. We've got
We're
to
the-
figure out what year.
So I'm done. I'm ready for
Wrong.
Geek Talk.
FIFA 09.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Then, in that case, I think it's on the PSP version of FIFA 2008 as well.
Fuck off. If there's ever another episode where James isn't here, maybe we should just do
FIFA soundtracks.
an entire episode dedicated to FIFA soundtracks.
Anyway, have we been to any gigs?
Anyway, we just waffled
Oh,
for about 10 minutes. It's
yeah.
all been cut out. So, gig talk. James, tell us how you broke your hand.
I went to a Russian deathcore show.
Thank you, James. Yeah, how was it?
They were really, really good live. Kind of like the vlog's there, so go watch the vlog. You kind of see all of it. You even see some of the hospital visit.
That's my favourite bit.
I think I did wonderful work there.
My favourite bit was when you were leaving the hospital and you thanked them for their hospitality.
It's fantastic,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's a brilliant line.
Just them, no support, which was interesting. Like, as we talked about on it with me and Callum, it was like, I like the idea of support bands because you find new artists, and it's also like a warm up because you can start to kind of get hyped, get energy. You have time to kind of have a drink, listen to music, just be in the atmosphere. Whereas this is like, obviously there's music being played in the PA, but that's it. There's nothing else kind of happening.
Was it still like a normal time for doors as well? Like 7?
Doors was 7. They didn't start until 9. So I found that out the night before, like just looking on Twitter. And so I was like, well, fuck it. We're not going that early. So me and Callum were in Spoons in Camden until maybe 8:15-ish, latest. Maybe 8. And then we just headed over to Camden.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, before you move on, I think there's room for criticism there, in
Yeah.
that it's a missed opportunity to kind of help a smaller band out,
Yeah.
because it's a tough industry these days. So you need bands like that to kind of give someone else a foot up and just sort of
Agreed.
there's an opportunity there to expose a new band to an audience of people that might not have heard of them before.
Or alternatively, give the audience arguably better experience by just fucking being on at 8 o'clock. I think.
Yeah, because also we've all been to gigs before where
We will.
we've all been to gigs before. We're all friends here. Where there might have been like one support act build, but then when you actually arrive, there's a bonus support act on beforehand that weren't on the poster or whatever. So I would have gone to that gig assuming that there was a support band anyway.
No,
So I would have been there in time to see them, and then be like, oh, I'm stood around
Like a
I
mellow.
was
waiting
looking
for
through
an
all
hour
like social
extra.
posts, like tour posters, everything. Look back over history and just like, have they had many people before? And it seems like it's not something they've done necessarily. But looking at the dates they've put on this upcoming American tour they're getting a few people in. So I don't know if that's just culture of like how they've kind of been with it, where it's just like it's just them. I don't really know. I don't get. But all of that aside, they were fantastic. Really, really good. His vocals are as good live as you kind of want them and expect them to be, which is just fucking cool.
Does he wear the mask much at all?
So he wore it maybe first couple of songs and then he took it off.
Because presumably because obviously with the mask he's going to be holding the microphone a bit further away from his face. So I guess it's hard then for him to absolutely belt it. Like
he has a naturally loud voice as it.
That's
anyway,
true.
'cause
Yeah,
obviously
I know
you've
he
seen
does
bits
that
of
thing
him,
where
like,
he
screaming.
drops the
Yeah.
mic and just goes
And that
for
was
it.
fucking cool. Like honestly, that was sick. There were mic issues at the start, which kind of was a bit like Bone Break was a little like that's a bit of a pain because I love it.
Bone Break
irony
was a
of
bit
that,
of a pain, was
obviously,
it?
with me having a broken hand. Alex came up with that in the group chat. Wonderful, thank you.
I was literally in the shower and it came to me.
Shower
I was like,
thoughts. New series coming soon. Shower thoughts with Alex.
You don't want to hear the shower thoughts.
But yeah, like so there were mic issues, and then they kind of got past that eventually. The rest of the band had the masks on the entire time. They stayed with that on. Just a great stage presence by all of them, I think in general. It was an interesting crowd. There were some idiots in the pit. For the most part, it was very fine though, like no issues. Really diverse actually, which is quite an interesting one. A lot of different ages, which was really kind of quite cool to see for something kind of so heavy. Like with deathcore, I think that was quite intriguing because you don't always expect that. It's usually a younger demographic you're going to expect there, and so it was quite nice seeing that, and seeing older people in the pits as well was like that's kind of like wholesome in a deathcore show maybe. But yeah, they were really cool live. Songs are fantastic. Very excited for download. New albums coming this year, they've said. Yeah, and Alex, you could tell like he was making the effort to talk in English as much as he could, and you could kind of like from like old stuff where he's kind of taught bits and pieces, you can hear the progression from that. And that was quite nice. There was like wholesome moments of him just kind of talking to the crowd, because there has been stuff about them about possibly like inclusivity and things like this. There's been points made about them before, but he was very kind of. It felt very genuine the way he was talking, being open and being like, "That's not what we're about," which was a nice thing, obviously, to be able to hear as well from a band like that. Because obviously they have like some of the weird links to Falling in Reverse and Ronnie Radke and stuff like that, which can be a bit iffy. But like the sentiment and the points he was putting across were the right points, the things you do want to hear out of it. So that kind of just made the whole experience like a nice kind of overall package with it. So aside from Broken Hand, aside from the hostel visit,
Yeah, talk us through that. How did that happen?
you know, when you've got a pit, it's already quite big, but you kind of want to open it up bigger. It happens. You've been in pits before. We know what it's like.
We've been to
We've
gigs
been in
before.
pits. Yeah, we've been in pits before. We're all friends.
He went to go and open it up bigger. He was a dick the entire time, to be honest. He was like the one main person. And he went to kind of like open it up bigger and almost like rugby tackle spear like 3 or 4 people by putting his arms like at full reach either side. And I was like by the shoulder, one of his shoulders, caught up in it. And all I went to do was just like push down and push him out the way. And as I pushed down, my left hand, I just heard the crunch over deathcore, which was still weird to think of. But I heard it, felt it, and immediately I was like, yeah, fuck, that's bad. That's not good. And then about 30 seconds later, I saw Callum in the pit and he looked at me and I was like holding my hand and I was like, I think I've broken my hand. And he just looked at me and just went, fuck. So yeah, that was literally it. You're doing the motion. It's literally like a push down.
How's that? I don't understand.
I don't know either, mate. And it was the most menial, stupid thing. Because like push pits happen all the fucking time. Yeah. Shout out to the Kentish Town staff and the first aid
we love
responder.
Kentish Town.
Like, it's a wonderful venue, but like, I went to the bars, they gave me ice, and they were like, oh, we don't think it's broken, but we'll get the first aider for you. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it is. And I kind of talked it through with her, and she went and got ice packs and everything. She could give me ibuprofen and bits and pieces like that. So immediately, beyond that's like literally the limit of the capabilities of what they're able to do. They can't do anything that the hospital would do. They can't do x-rays. So they literally went to everything they could do with it, which was amazing. Very grateful for that. So thank you for the hospitality there at Kentish Town Forum. And yeah, then the hospital happened. X-rays. And I broke my hand. So yeah. Fun times.
Shall we make some predictions for the year ahead?
Yes.
I'm glad you said yes, because we're going to do it anyway.
That's what we're doing.
This can be anything, I think. In previous years, we've tried to predict which bands are going to have a great year, but I think this leaves it a bit more open-ended. We can be predicting, like, we can still do the same. We can still predict bands that will have a good year, and I'm sure we will, but we could talk about what might happen at a festival in the summer. We can talk about bands that might make a comeback. We can talk about potential drama. Anything that we think might happen this year.
Alex is scratching his brain in thought now about the Have Heart reunion.
Oh, fucking hell. If Have Heart get announced for Outbreak, I don't even actually want to put it out into the universe in case it doesn't happen.
Which band is it that kind of rose from the ashes of Have Heart?
Fiddlehead.
Oh, was it part of Fiddlehead? Okay.
Singer,
I
singer,
think it was someone I couldn't remember.
and I think maybe another one. And then the guitarist of
from
Basement.
Yeah.
Great band. And actually, Have Heart, I think it might have been like the original lineup or something, reunited, but they basically started a new band with a different name because they didn't want it to be like a piggybacking off of the Have Heart legacy. I'm getting off topic. Anyway, yeah, fuck it, why not? I'm going to predict Have Heart reunion for Outbreak Festival. Or...
Because they haven't announced headliners yet.
They haven't announced headliners yet.
There's one headliner so far in Action Bronson. Who seems to be the kind of the token hip-hop.
What's the deal? Because am I right in thinking that like
the hip-hop day?
The Saturday and Sunday as like one ticket and the Friday is its own ticket? Because they've got like JPEG Mafia as well on that day.
Yeah, Friday's
like a hip-hop day.
At least now with the Action Bronson announcement, seems to be billed as a bit of a sort of hip-hop main stage
crossover
thing. Yeah.
But I think Have Heart, if they don't get Have Heart, I think it might just be Turnstile back, to be honest.
I still think it was based on that initial video. It looked like the drummer of Turnstile.
It was clips from. I don't
think that video is anything to go by. Really, I think that's just clips from some previous years' sets that look a bit cool.
But I don't know. I think it would make sense for Turnstile. Go on, someone else. Prediction. Go on.
I think with Sepultura finishing this year, we will get the announcement probably in the next couple of months that Eloy Casagrande is going to be the drummer for Slipknot.
Yeah.
Which will need to happen because I think they have their first shows in April. And like, even if they don't announce it, you look how quickly everyone guessed Jay Weinberg and V-Man like when the Devil and I music video came out. People are going to guess it quickly whether they announce it or don't announce it. But I think the drummer for Slipknot will be Eloy. I don't see who else it's going to be at this point. That's like viable.
No, I think that's a solid prediction.
My first prediction is kind of ties into a band that I think we've predicted to have a good year, like 2 years consecutively. But I think this year, because they're a very clever band, I think Static Dress are going to do something that goes viral.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a song or something during a live performance.
TikTok, we're looking at you here.
Not necessarily like viral, but at least within the scene.
Yeah, something's going to catapult them from
Yeah.
where they are to much bigger. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think
I
that's a really
just
good
think
prediction.
the whole band, Ollie especially,
They're
are
so
very
switched
very
on.
on the pulse and very switched on when it comes to sort of marketing and aesthetic. And they've just toured with Bring Me the Horizon, who are kind of one of the most viral bands in the UK at the moment, if not the world at the moment. Well, in the scene at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what they'll do, but I think they'll do something that will catapult them into the spotlight for a lot of people,
I think that's
and they'll
solid.
deserve it.
I reckon we're going to get albums this year from Knocked Loose,
Yes.
Loathe.
Yes.
I think we're going to get a Graphic Nature's follow-up.
Already,
I think so.
And end of the year.
I
kind of thing
think probably towards the end of the year, but I think considering the sheer bloody work ethic that they had last year and the amount of shows they were playing, that I think the best thing for them to do is to just keep their foot on the gas and keep the momentum,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be having a good tour this side of festival season, support tour, doing a really good festival run again, which I'm sure they will. And then what I would like to see from them is like a Europe run with someone as support, and then album at the end of the year. I think that's kind of it. I don't know. It's complete wish fulfillment, but that's how I would like to see Graphic Nature's year go as a
You
fan.
in Graphic Nature Management?
No, but if any of that happens, then I will be getting a cut or something, or send me a free T-shirt. That'd be nice. I think those three bands are going to be releasing albums this year. I think Loathe have been.
It's overdue, man.
Yeah, I don't.
Because didn't they?
They've
They
definitely been
cancelled
making
shows in end of 22. Because I remember
Yeah.
they
No, it was
announced
end of
they announced it at shows at Outbreak when they were there at 22, when we were there. I remember like Newcastle in particular. I don't know why I remember
Yeah, because
that.
one was Bournemouth, and I think I was thinking of going.
And those shows got cancelled because they were going in the studio and finish. And then we haven't heard anything.
To be fair to them, they've definitely been making use of their US visas.
Yeah. Very,
Before
very
they
true.
expire, but they've got to. I think you can only
When it's worked,
you
I
can
think.
only rest on I let it in for so long, and I think like for me as a fan, I'm starting to get a bit like, fucking come on then, let's hear something new. And I think Knocked Loose. I think you think about the growth they've had from A Different Shade of Blue, which was a really great album, but it was like an album of songs. They then did Tearing the Fabric of Life, which was a really wonderful, small, cohesive thing. Then the Upon Lost double single, which was just incredible. And I think it sets them up really nicely for an album of the year contender, because it's going to feel like a full, cohesive body of work, what they do. If they do release an album, which I think they will.
I've seen clips on Twitter of Isaac Hale like putting riffs out there and stuff like that. So he's obviously in like
Geezer
writing
riffs.
mode.
He's
Also,
cooking.
but he is also in Inclination as well,
Yeah.
and I think he's in another hardcore band. But so it's hard to know what riffs are, because if I was him, the riffs that I'm posting on Twitter, I wouldn't post Knocked Loose riffs until they were released, personally. So I don't think any of the riffs he's posted.
He's done
are
that
Knocked Loose.
before though.
It has happened.
What, before they've then?
I want to
come out?
say either one of the riffs for Deep in the Willow or Everything's Quiet Now was on Twitter.
No, fair. All right, well, fair enough.
I think. Like,
There's definitely
90%.
something from the previous EP as well that was on his Twitter.
watch out for
beforehand.
those little nuggets.
Yum yum.
I think we're going to get a Vessel Mask update.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to say he's unmasking them.
Yeah, we haven't that. No, but I think obviously we had the new ones from 2, 3, and 4 at the end of the year at Wembley. They've got this US tour coming up. I feel like it's going to be a latter end of the year kind of thing.
I'm intrigued by like the poster for that tour. Just has like a very demonic looking deer skull on it. So I wonder if that's the kind of vibe that they might go for with a new mask.
I don't see him having a vast departure because I think it's very symbolic, the kind of look he has. But I think obviously, like, as there's been the talk of over time, it's always like eaten away. I'm not even going to try and predict what the development's going to be, but I think there's going to be some kind of update as keep being said about that's the end of an era we've just had and we're going into a new era going forwards. It only makes sense for there to be a new progression.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something that will happen this year towards the latter half. They'll have this US tour, maybe rest a bit over the summer, probably write a little bit, maybe have a few UK dates at the end of the year on a arena run, perhaps, after the success of Wembley, and the demand of tickets at the moment in particular anyway. So I think that'll happen, but it may almost be like a reveal, like there was at the last show of the year last year. Then maybe we have that again this year.
Yeah, I think they're... Sorry, Tom.
No, you go.
I think as a whole, trying to predict their year this year is going to be quite difficult. Because...
Well, that's exactly what we're going to try and do now, because
yeah.
I think they'll do a UK arena tour towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sort of autumn time.
Do you think any new music?
No.
I think we might get a new single or two. At the very least, a music video.
The gap between Tomb and Eden wasn't that long, was it?
No, but allegedly they've got them in the chamber.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't remember where I heard that, but there's allegedly a close source suggests that they've got like another album ready to go now if they wanted to. Don't think they will, because I think the huge success that they've had from Eden they might as well sort of ride on that wave for as long as they can, really. Yeah, I reckon this is my next prediction, which I've already made in our previous podcast episode, to be fair. UK Arena Tour from Sleep Token. Maybe sort of 2 nights in London at the end of it.
Venue?
Although
Venue?
I reckon Ali Pali, because it's not like a massive proper venue like Wembley is. But if you do 2 or 3 nights there,
it feels
like
like
spread out across the UK as well.
That's 20 to 30,000 people just in London. And then you can't go too big in London. Like, the Wembley show was the only UK show on that tour. Whereas if you're doing arenas across the country as well, then...
diversifies a little bit.
Yeah,
spread
then you're probably two nights at Ali Pali, perhaps. Because that's 20,000 people in it. So, well, 20,000 across 2 nights.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any, like, big festival predictions?
Yeah. I think... And this is kind of a bit of an obvious one. I think Download is going to feel significant... I'm not going, so I can't... I think Download is going to feel significantly quieter and smaller this year. And I think it's a few reasons. One, last year was obviously an anniversary, 4 days.
A big event.
Felt really big. But I think as far as like the scale of the lineup goes, like I really personally I don't think and I like all 3 headliners, but I don't think any of them are massive draws. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
And I think that is going to turn a lot of people away.
Very pleased that they're, well, 2 of them at least, are new headliners.
Yep.
I don't think Queens of the Stone Age have headlined before.
They've not. No. They haven't.
Obviously, Fall Out Boy haven't. And I'm pleased that they're quite diverse headliners as well. Like, Fall Out Boy are kind of a bit more for the younger generation, which feels weird to say considering their sort of peak in popularity was, at least within our scene, was like at the 2010s.
Yeah, both have played main support slots before on stage, but never headlined.
So yeah, I'm pleased with the headliners, but the fact that I'm pleased with the headliners means that there's going to be a majority of people that aren't pleased with the headliners. And yeah, that's why it's going to be a lot quieter, I think.
Yeah, and I think sort of beyond that, I know this is just predictions for this year, but I think Download will see a reduced number of sales this year and think, well, that was fucking a failed experiment.
Bring back Maiden.
And then they'll bounce back in 2025 with a bunch of old fucks.
There's already
I
looking
hope
at
not.
that because there is some kind of maiden anniversary next year. I want to say it's
Gives
like
a
50th or something.
No one cares. Should we maybe do bands to have a breakout year?
Before you do that,
Okay.
we'll finally get Look Outside Your Window this year.
Ooh, baby.
What to expect from it, I don't know. As it was written during the All Ape Is Gone era of Not. And it's not all of the members, and it's meant to be Radiohead vibey, apparently.
I think it's going to be A, underwhelming. B, shit. No. I think it's going to be quite underwhelming, and I think it's also going to further cause whatever issues are going on in Slipknot.
I
to
think we're seeing the
worsen.
downfall of the band.
Because like you said, it's only certain members on this, and it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing a bit of mudslinging in the media.
Bit of a Jordan fish.
Bit of a to be honest, I wouldn't surprise me if another member leaves this year.
There's another prediction for you.
It wouldn't surprise me. I hate
who
to say
goes
it. I hate
out
to
of
say
originals, though?
it. Knock on wood. It wouldn't surprise me if that tour gets cancelled or postponed.
I tell you what, then let's
I
make
think
a
I
prediction.
see-
So
I don't know.
we've got. If we're talking,
I don't want
not
to.
all of the originals.
I don't want to just single one out because I don't know what the inner workings are like. But it just seems like there's something going on there that's not normal.
But who do we actually? We have Corey,
And
Clown,
Clown, they're not
Sid.
going anywhere.
Mick, and Jim.
Mm.
Is that it? Because then you've got whoever drummer is. That was 5. You got whoever drummer is, V-Man, Tortilla,
and Craig's
and whoever
replacement.
Craig's replacement is.
Who we don't. Do we even know?
No. So we're at 5 out of 9 right now. We're just over 50% of
Well,
actual members.
Clown and Corey aren't going. To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if Corey Taylor turned around and said, "I'm done." I really
After
would.
recently, like taking
really wouldn't
time out
surprise
and
me.
cancelling his tour.
And if he does it for the right reasons for himself, then fair enough. But it wouldn't surprise me if that happened this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't want it to. Not
No.
saying I want. I'm it's not a prediction I want to come true. But yeah, if some sort of descent or hiatus happens for Slipknot, you heard it here first.
Right then, was it new bands you want to talk about or breakout bands?
Before we move on to that, I'm going to take a prediction that James mentioned to me the other day. I think it was you anyway. That if you were going to say it, you would have said it by now, so I'm just going to steal it anyway. Paramore will do Paramore's versions, like Taylor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And also, so that ties into it because I'm just being reminded.
Oh, this
of
ties
things
into one that my girlfriend said as well.
Go on.
When they wiped their social media and did their thing, one of the last things it said was, Paramore's future is the future of Paramore is uncertain. And my girlfriend said, their next album is going to be called Uncertainty. And I thought,
Could be.
that could very well be true.
Mm.
But I think a Paramore's version of All We Know Is Falling. Oh my God. Could you imagine though? Because I bloody love it. Like I'm Swiftie. We all know this. And it is actually quite fun to sort of hear little, very, very subtle changes that she's made. And you sort of, as a fan, you can, I don't know, because also Lewis Watson, local legend, shout out, has re-released his first album as a re-recorded version, Lewis's version, I guess. And I love it because it's also something that he started on YouTube like 2 years ago, where he was doing like a series where he was picking an old song, reimagining it in a new way. And it's just exciting as a fan to hear an artist go back and do these things now, because it's not something that's ever really been a thing. Whereas now it's sort of like, well, I wrote this song at 16. I'm 28 now.
That was the next point I was going to make about it, because I read something. I was like a bit of an opinion piece, so I don't know how completely true it is, but Paramore were in an incredibly long-term deal with Atlantic Records.
20 years.
Since Hayley was 15.
Mm.
So she was literally a child when she signed that record deal. And now they're finally free of it. Like, she's a grown woman now. She's a completely different person. So it'd be really interesting, I think, to hear what other ideas she and the rest of the band have that differ to like sort of reimagining these songs and reapproaching them
Yeah,
with the mindset they have now and everything they know now.
I think that would be really fun if that is what they do. And if they don't, if they just carry on doing new music, I'll be happy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think a Paramore's version is the vibe. And I'd like to see more bands do it. Okay, before we wrap up, let's talk about bands that are going to break out in 2024. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be bands that are complete, unknowns. It could be bands that are already pretty big, but they're going to get bigger. So, for example, I'll start. I think Harriet are going to have an incredible year this year.
See, I wanted to say Harriet as well.
Oh, sorry.
I kind of didn't want to say it again, but like they're like Static Dress, they're one that we've mentioned. They're a band that we mentioned last year has been the ones to watch and having a breakout year, but this year with them builds to release their debut album, I think they're going to be as busy as ever on festival bills and touring and everything, and yeah, I think it's going to be another brilliant year for them.
I think, given how, even though it was like a mini album, given how like sonically the world building on Profound Morality, how good that was, I think that sets them up really good for like a full length body of work. Like, I think they're going to really make something that sort of all interweaves in it, has a really clear theme and vibe and world to inhabit for an album. I think it's going to be really fun. I think all the bands that they've been playing shows with, like over the last year, are like all of the best bands for them to be playing with. Like bands like Lamb of God and
I think it says a lot as well when you've got bands like Lamb of God and Architects and people in the industry like Alex Holcomb, like all keeping an eye on them and all sort of helping them and wanting to support them. I think it obviously shows that they see something in them, and I think quite rightly they're going to go on to big things. And when we spoke to Deb and Jake from the band, they said they agreed themselves that with what we said of the EP/mini album kind of being a bit of a showcase of what they might be capable of, and they said they felt like it was, from their perspective, the same kind of thing. That it was almost like a practice run to see what they could do, and then to see what would work on a full-length album. And I think their sound really lends itself to that format as well. I think, obviously, they're a massive band anyway, but I think Architects are going to do something big this year. I'm not certain whether it would be an album.
Bloodstock headliner.
Probably more likely an EP, but they're headlining Bloodstock, so they've got a headline festival set to look forward to. And I think probably a big release and maybe a big tour at the end of the year.
I just want to will it into existence for the most part, because I think I've said it so many times. I want to see like a big Taller explosion, because I think they deserve it. But that also includes with it a UK tour. Because, guys, please, like we need this tour over here. Desperate for
they
it.
seem like they're the kind of band that just needs the right person to find them and to give them a helping hand and like sort of a leg up.
Almost in a way, like you said earlier with like the Static Dress as well, like I feel like something could go viral with them. There could be the right thing, the right song comes out and it could blow up. I think they have that potential.
I think in the way that like Not Loose and like Kubla Khan songs as like trends on TikTok were a thing. I think Taller could like write something that people would like not meme at their expense, but like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
people
people could make
Justin
memes,
making some kind of vocal
Justin making
noise.
some sort of vocal noise could be used as like a really funny like template for people to make viral videos off of. So I think that would be.
It sounds crazy to say like in the modern age that like bands will strategically be writing songs with that in mind.
The thing is, I don't even think because I think Taller are just mental enough that they would do whatever they want.
I don't think every band intentionally.
Yeah.
And I don't think every band that goes viral on TikTok has done it intentionally. But labels especially are out there telling bands to write a song for TikTok, for sure.
Last year we saw the greatest reunion of all time. Alex, what is it?
Mike Portnoy is back in Dream Theater, baby. It's
we're
not
gonna-
really a
we're gonna
breakout year
get-
because they're fucking
Nah,
massive. But
hey, they could be any size. You said that earlier on,
oh, that's true. I did say that. Yeah.
and I reckon this is going to be like a big year. Big
Yeah.
tour.
How soon do
They
you reckon we
never-
get new music?
They're meant to be writing this year.
I
at
don't think
least.
we'll get it this year.
I think we'll get a single later this year. But I think in terms of touring wise,
That'll be very.
there
busy.
could be things that could be happening. They've never together played like Portnoy's 12 step suite. He's done that in his own kind of thing, and you can hear like Root of All Evil going through and Shattered Fortress and that. So I'm expecting like a big deal to be made of it, and I kind of have a question. Like I wonder if they be like an. I only see Download really having one more big announcement because so many bands are already on the bill. I've maybe one more big announcement with day splits, I think, happening. And I kind of wouldn't be surprised if they're on there. Because
It
there
would
is a
make
lack
sense.
of older bands on there. And I think they cater towards a different audience that Downloads hasn't really catered towards in what's out there so far. And so in order to try and bring more diversity across the whole thing, they'd slot in quite well.
You could put them on Bloodstock though, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Could be good to have a band like that on the second stage while someone like Fall Out Boy's on.
I think exactly. Yeah, it does give a different kind of thing, and there's a lot of attention back on them now. Portnoy's Drumeo videos are doing phenomenally well. I think that would just be something quite cool. And you look to band again. Some bands got nearly 30 years into their career, being able to still maybe be innovative and create an excitement amongst a fan base just by a member rejoining after years. I think that could be interesting. One to watch.
Bingo, by the way.
Bingo.
Bingo, my Portnoy, baby.
And if they tour, I think me and Alex are going.
Oh, we're going for show. Who else is going to have a breakout year? Come on, we're normally on the post. Graphic Nature we predicted, they happened.
I'm thinking of other bands.
That's the thing. I feel like we're just repeating ourselves because we talk about so many great bands and we're always so right about them.
I think, actually, Shields.
Oh,
Okay.
I'd love that
I
to
think
happen.
Bury Me was a really, really fucking sick comeback song. And I think in like the modern UK landscape, I don't think there's going to be a band that does it quite like they do. And they've got like a good blend of... They've got a lot of experience. And they've got like this weird... They've got like this veteran
Veteran but new
There's a
feel.
bit of
vibe
a
to them,
vibe
but-
of the time they've been apart, they've gone off and done their own projects and then sort of come back with the knowledge they've gained from doing
Yes,
those.
yeah.
And they're like the Avengers
Yeah.
assembling and just putting all of their different strengths into this band and then seeing what they come up with, I suppose. And
And I
so
saw,
far,
like-
so far it's sounding pretty good.
On the social media, like Sam was doing some riffs.
Sam's making lots of noises
And
with his
there's
guitar.
some lovely riffs.
Mm.
I
think
see
he
that
put-
Larry's been
he put
writing
up a
as
video
well, and
saying-
it's just-
Making riffs and noises or something like that.
I'm just excited. And like
I like the noises.
I see the stories come up and I'm listening to them and I'm like, I like this.
We were both
like
in one of
this.
the lives the other day as well on
We were.
Instagram. Yeah.
We were. And yeah, I was just like, I'm liking what's coming out of that. And yeah, I mean, that was such a great comeback to end the year with. And I mean, Bury Me was like, I think it was my third song of the year in my awards. It was such a big tune. And I'm, just looking forward to more this year.
It says a lot that just talking about the song and saying the title there, it's putting the chorus in my head.
Yeah. And again, that's the kind of thing you want to have. That it's memorable. So yeah, I'd love to see some.
Yeah,
big
that'd
things
be
from
awesome to see.
As far as just smaller UK bands that I hope sort of have a really, really strong year, Cauldron just released a full length late 2024, late 2023, which was really cool. I'd like to see them on bills with bands like Graphic Nature and Harriet. That'd be fun.
I like some at Burn It Down. They're
Same
very good.
goes for Creek. They're a really cool band that have just a really unique sort of vibe. And I think actually the biggest band for me personally that I'm watching in 2024 is Love Is Noise.
Yeah.
They seem like a band, despite being so new and not having a whole lot of releases, they seem to already really know their own sense of identity and their own world that they inhabit in the sort of modern landscape of the UK alternative scene. So I think, and I believe they're writing and recording their full-length album. They're definitely recording. I don't know if it is a full-length. I think it is. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. I think it's going to... Yeah, I think it's going to be really... I think it's going to really change the game for how alternative music can be made nowadays.
Yeah.
I know that's quite a lot of pressure and quite a high bar to set for it, but I really, really like everything they've released so far. The EP that they did felt like a really strong, cohesive body of work. All of the recent singles are really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them at Misery Loves Company, but I'm excited to see them live.
They were very good.
They were good.
And yeah, I think they are going to have a tremendous year this year.
I've got one more.
Go on.
And it feels weird because they're already a massive band in terms of streaming numbers. But I think a lot of those streaming numbers probably come from just one or two massive songs that they have. They're a band that I've only really got around to listening to recently, and a band that I think seem to be much bigger in the US and haven't quite reached over here recently. But I've only started listening to them since they had a song go sort of semi-viral on TikTok. The Plot in You. I think they're going to do something big this year. I have a feeling they might have an album out at some point, because they haven't released one for, I think, nearly 3 years now. Again, making waves on TikTok, making waves on socials, huge streaming numbers. I think they're going to do something big this year, and people will be talking about them maybe on the level that they talk about Bad Omens nowadays.
Oh, last one, actually. Have you got any more?
Not artist, but kind of links to what was said a minute ago. But you go.
My last artist prediction for this year is, I think and I hope that we should be getting Boston Manor's part 2 to Datura, and I think it might have something on there that's going to blow them up. I don't know. I feel like they're so effortlessly cool, and they're just like on the precipice of being like a monumental. Like
Henry's been playing around with electronic music a lot as well the past couple of years.
I could see them being in the same sort of level of like a Nothing But Thieves, where they become like kind of a and I mean that as a compliment, like a mainstream like rock band. I don't know. I just think there's going to be something on this new one that's going to be cool, because I think they originally said that it was going to happen. It was going to be coming out a lot sooner than it has, which makes me think, like with Next Gen, they've actually decided to cook a little longer, and it's probably resulted in a better product. So, yeah, I think Boston Manor are going to have a good year. Oh, and Trash Boat as well. Sorry, last one.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Trash Boat.
Your point?
No, so just leave it there.
It's tapping out.
Tapping out. And that's it. Those are our predictions for 2024, but you let us know in the comments what you're predicting. Who's going to blow up this year? What controversy is going to happen? Who's going to be the first band to get cancelled? That could be a fun one.
I did nearly think about
to let us
doing
know
one
in the
of
comments,
those,
because we're not going to go there, but
No.
you can. But before we wrap it up, an album recommendation from each of you, please.
I'm going to recommend How to Survive a Funeral by Make Them Suffer. After seeing them last year supporting Stray, I thought they were phenomenal. I knew more songs than I actually realised, I think from a lot of playlists. Absolutely phenomenal set. Very much looking forward to them at download, and since all of that, I've been delving into their music more. Very innovative, very enjoyable, very good.
I'm going to back up the point I just made by recommending my favourite The Plot in You album, which is their 2018 album, Dispose. And it kind of just proves that they've been making music that's like arena worthy for fucking ages. And that I've been really late to the party and should have been appreciating them a long time ago. So I hope that you two appreciate them just as I do.
Nice.
I kind of have two. One of them's going to be my actual recommendation. The other one's just a shout out. I've been binging Ithaca's 2022 album, They Fear Us, a lot this month. But we've already been there. We already know that. So I'm going to recommend their debut from 2019, The Language of Injury, because
Lovely.
I have given it just like maybe 1 or 2 spins. I haven't really gone all the way in. But
You dipped your toe in?
I've dipped my toe. Now it's time to get my shoulders under. So that's going to be my recommendation.
Hang on. Does that mean you've dipped your toe in and now you're jumping in,
Yes.
so that your shoulders are under, or you've dipped your toe in and now you're awkwardly leaning
No,
over
no,
the
no.
side of the pool
Now I'm-
with like a shoulder?
Now I'm sort of. I would never bomb into a pool, but you know when you do that sort of
The straddle jump.
I've sort of done the pencil straddle, a sort of combination where I've jumped in such a way that my head hasn't gone under. Do you know what I mean? I'm in. I'm all the way I'm up to my neck.
I've jumped in such a way that
Oh yeah, I'm going up to my neck in Ithaca. Fuck. That's not going in.
No, that's got. Come on.
Ithaca.
Ithaca.
I barely know her.
Brilliant stuff.
Top that, James.
I'm not.
It was an album. I just want to give a shout out to an album that I did mention earlier, and that is Lewis Watson's The Morning After. He is a local boy, local legend, and it's really fun as a fan to hear someone revisit their debut and reimagine it and reinvent it as basically a completely different person as he was back then. I think his voice is better now than it was then as well, so that helps. The instrument that is better. Not that it was bad; it was brilliant. Oh no, I've dug a hole now. It's really it's really fun as a fan to hear an album be reimagined like this, and I think it is worth everyone checking out because it's bloody lovely. That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
We've been
That's
the
great.
RAGAMUFFINs.
That's great for the audio listeners.
Yeah, we've just done.
They're all audio listeners. We haven't filmed
We've
this.
just done a visual joke to each other that only we know. I don't think we've even explained on the podcast properly,
We will one day.
but maybe we will one day. But for now, we'll just leave it.
Maybe we'll explain it in the Ragamuffin Club.
James, tell them about the Ragamuffin Club. He can't. He's laughing so much. They've moulded your cast in such a way that it is perfect to hold a microphone.
It is,
Did
isn't
you
it?
tell them you had a podcast to do? No. Well, look, if you like this, and I don't know why you would, it's sort of fallen off the rails at the end, but you can join the Ragamuffin Club on Facebook. It is a place for us to go and all talk about the music we love. We have little discussions and other shit like that. You can see behind the scenes content, see stuff before the rest of the world. Who knows? Maybe you'll even be able to tell us a future discussion topic for this very podcast. That's the Ragamuffin Club on Facebook. The link is in the description of this episode if you're on YouTube and Spotify. If you're on Apple Podcasts, fuck it, I can't help you. Figure it out yourself. We've got news videos every weekend from James. That's the voice you hear giggling right now. What else we got going on? Dan's going to a gig on Saturday, so he'll be vlogging that.
We're going to As Everything Unfolds.
Yeah.
Arm's
Length, you're
bloody
going.
Arm's Length. There's something else I think as well. We're off to Dream State soon.
Yep.
Neck Deep in March.
Yep.
And then a whole bunch of festivals in the summer.
Fuck yeah, no.
And we're going to vlog it all.
It's basically download next week is what it feels like. That's what you're saying to me, isn't it?
Might as well be.
It might as well be.
You're there.
Okay, well, look, listener, the wheels came off the wagon right at the end, so we're going to leave it there.
I'm so sorry.
It's been fun. We might not do it again this next month. This might be it. No, we will.
Oh, my head hurts.
Don't want to worry you. We will carry on. But might edit some of this down. No, I won't. We're human. Right, we're done. Bye. I kissed the mic as I said bye then.
Love you.
Not intentionally.
Okay, love you. Bye.